back-to-back years, and both of those years they were just blown out. They had no chance against the Cardinals. So it's time to start taking steps.
Welcome to the Darren Smith Show.
This is the big one, boys. This is the one that brings us back.
Soon AM radio will reign king once more.
Oh, yeah. Now here's Darren.
We love you. We love you forever and ever.
On Extra 1360.
Hey there. Greetings to you. Happy Thursday. Happy April. Happy opening day. With you here on this first day of April for 2021, I am Darren Smith. You are listening to Extra 1360. For now, at least, we understand you might be a little conflicted coming up in a little bit more than an hour's time. We are available on the AM dial at AM 1360. We're available on FM at 103.3. You can find us on HD radio at 101.5 FM channel number 2. Of course, the iHeartRadio app for all of your listening options. You can listen wherever, whenever, however, via the iHeartRadio app. Miss a single second of the show, and I suspect many of you will today. You can find it all a little bit later via the iHeartRadio app. SportsSD.com, that is the website. And smart speakers like Siri and Alexa, they can tell you that it is a warm day here in San Diego. Temperatures expected mid to high 80s in downtown San Diego, which looks beautiful on television here as we get set for the start of the most anticipated season in recent memory. The 2021 baseball season begins today in San Diego just past 1 o'clock. It is going to be Yu Darvish taking on Madison Bumgarner. We have plenty to get to here. We're going to treat the first hour of this program like a de facto pregame show for you. We will update you throughout the day if for whatever reason you don't have access to the Padres. We will keep you updated throughout the span of the afternoon. And I do love this, and I do consider this a tradition that started many years ago under totally different circumstances where I was in a different role, he was in a different role. There were thousands of people roaming the streets of downtown San Diego, which is not exactly the case here today, although it's much better than what it was 1 year ago. Man, that is such a part of the storyline today. But getting a chance to continue our tradition, I cannot tell you how much it means to me, to this audience, and to this show, that Peter Seidler makes himself available to us. He's the chairman of the Padres. He's getting set for opening day. Hopefully he's inside of Petco Park or somewhere around downtown San Diego, just appreciating and absorbing the vibe here on a most special of afternoons. Peter, Darren Smith, as always, thank you so much for doing this.
Darren, you hit it exactly right. I'm in Petco, and I am both appreciating and feeling the great vibrations as people come into the ballpark. We haven't had fans at a Padres game, and I forget the exact number, but it's like 578 days. And we have them today, and we'll have them for 81 home games and postseason beyond that, I believe.
Oh, I love it, Peter. It's just such a special day under any circumstances, right? You know, and whoever could have predicted the circumstances of last year's opening day, but it does feel like we are starting to turn a corner. What was the drive like down today as you were driving into Petco Park, a drive you've made so many times? What was that like for Peter Seidler here this morning?
Well, it was an easy drive because I came in early. And I think what's encouraging so far is that, you know, we've had to shift a lot of things, including everything is contact-free tickets, and then once you get inside, concessions, and, you know, everything from food and beverage to if you want to buy, I see a number of Tatis, Machado, Hosmer, Darvish, Snell jerseys being worn and being purchased. But I think we did everything we possibly could to prepare our fans for just the new reality coming into a baseball game as we hopefully are emerging from COVID. And it's been really smooth so far, knock on wood. You know, given the change, I expect some hiccups there, but our fans have been so good, so patient and understanding, and I get it. You know, I'm not technologically savvy at all, and like everybody else, I'm learning how to, you know, put apps on my phone and all sorts of stuff. So it's a great vibe in here. And most importantly, I was out here yesterday for the players' workout from 1 to 3, and the mood and to use the word, the vibe among the players is as good as, you know, it's a combination of anticipation, but seriousness and focus and a commitment to winning. It should be just a terrific season all around.
Absolutely. Can't wait to watch it get underway here today on what looks like another Chamber of Commerce type afternoon. I know a little bit warm here, temperatures in the mid-80s, but what a way to get the season started. The ballpark looks great on television, Peter. And you talked about a new reality, and you're talking about COVID and us getting used to using Apple Pay, right? Like, have you figured that out yet? How to use your phone to pay for stuff?
I have, although I'm no expert.
Right. All right. Well, go find Peter Seidler at some point. Who knows? He might buy a round for everybody. But also the new reality, Peter, is that like people are so excited and proud of this team, and they're so proud of the work that you have done, and they're so proud of the commitment made by ownership. They're so proud of what Preller has built here. And that very much feels like a new reality as well. You know, it's opening day, which is always special, right? But it's also the reality of expectations, the excitement of last year's postseason, and people dreaming about what this season might look like.
Yes, I would say as it relates to the baseball side of things, starting with AJ, a really committed and tight culture has been built. AJ, his staff, the coaches, but most importantly, the players. I think, what I see is they have each other's back. They're all different human beings from all over the globe, but they're comfortable in their own skin. And when they put the uniform on, they're all on one team. And I think that's what our fans are going to see throughout the course of this season, recognizing, of course, that 162 games will have its lows as well as its highs, but I'm optimistic we're going to start off with a high.
Peter Seidler is the Padres chairman. He is continuing, and we appreciate continuing our tradition of beginning the season with a Peter Seidler conversation. Peter, you had a taste of the postseason last year. It's something you and I have talked about a lot on the air, and we've talked about it sometimes off the air, about what that would feel like and what that moment would be like for you and for the city of San Diego. How long after the season ends are you already starting to think about what 2021 and beyond is going to represent and how to build on what it was that you guys did last year? Even though without fans, Peter, I thought it was a really important season. It can't be said enough how you lifted the spirits of so many people here in San Diego.
Yeah, the players did really, and I expect they'll do it again. They're hungry. I think everybody on the flight home from Texas, once our season ended last year, it didn't take long to start, thinking about what's going to happen in 2021 and how can we get better. Obviously, AJ's wheels were spinning because he was active, from a roster construction standpoint, and I think we'll see that in particular with the three starting pitchers we have in our first three games. But everybody enjoyed last year, and there was a lot of real excellence to it, but nobody was satisfied. I think the way I look at it is it was a solid year for us. It's not what we aspired to do, although the 3-game victory over St. Louis was really special. I kept thinking during that series like that, this building that I'm sitting in, Petco Park, would have just been vibrating, and it would have felt like an earthquake if we were able to have fans. But we're not here to win a round in the postseason. We're going to chase the trophy this year and next year and for years beyond, and enjoy the roller coaster of it all. And again, all this starts at this point with the players. We've got a lot of talented, hungry, young athletes, but also some really terrific people down there, starting with the guy who's going to throw the first pitch of the game today. I would say Darvish is a really special guy, and we're so happy to have him here.
I would imagine you are not alone in that one. Peter Seidler is joining us. It makes me remember, Peter, last time you were on the show, it was before you had acquired Darvish and before you had acquired Snell, before you had acquired Musgrove, obviously, since that's in reverse chronological order. And I remember you had this great line that we had some fun with here on the show where you're like, yeah, we know Preller. We know that he's busy, he's active, he's going to be making trades. What was that like? You must have known, obviously, that you guys were in on Yu Darvish and Blake Snell. Most of us thought it was an either or. How did we go from bringing in a big name like one of those guys to just going out and getting as many of them as you can?
Well, I think it speaks a lot to what AJ and our scouts and our player development people do kind of below the surface in the minor leagues. We had a ton of depth in our minor league system, really to the point where we were coming up on a period of time where we could not protect them all, as part of the Padres organization. So trading from our depth, but really keeping our elite minor league prospects, and AJ, covered every possible option that I can, it ended up being those three pitchers, but there were other free agents and trade possibilities that were talked about at length. So there's nothing that AJ and I think that this organization does that's impulsive. It was after a ton of thought and analysis, and then when AJ's ready to pull the trigger, he doesn't have any fear.
Well, obviously he has to do that, Peter, with your backing, the commitment from ownership here, and none of this of what we're talking about. And AJ certainly deserves a ton of accolades for his creativity, for building up the depth that allowed some of these moves. But none of this is done without the commitment from ownership. And I remember sitting out there in the Peoria Sports Complex the day that we introduced Manny Machado. And you said, hey, this is a no-brainer for us. How does it go though from either one of those pitchers to both of those pitchers? Like, who came up with the idea of let's just go get them all? Let's figure out how to add them all into the mix. Why not?
Well, there were many that we didn't get, but those two players fit really well for us. AJ's known Yu Darvish since he was part of Texas signing him as a rookie. And we saw, the excellence that Blake Snell brings, throughout last season with Tampa and in the postseason. And I'll maybe save some thoughts on Blake for another day, but he is terrific. He's, becoming something of a leader in our clubhouse already. And it's nice, we have at minimum two aces here, and we'll see what grows during the course of the season among our other pitchers. But, signing or trading for two players of this caliber, I don't think I expected it going into the off season, but the trades were sound baseball trades for us. And there's a fair amount of negotiating that went into it. There were asks by the other clubs that we just wouldn't execute on because we didn't think it was a great trade for us. But at some point, AJ thought this is the right value for us, and I think people in San Diego know that we're here to win. And Darren, one more point is, yes, I think the commitment from the organization is definitely real, but we're inspired by the commitment from San Diego. And it just goes back to the history of the Padres. When the team is great, especially the two World Series years, people show up here like in no other place. And I think it's incumbent now on us to not just have moments, but to have years and years of consistent excellence. That's kind of the mandate in here, because I believe if we do that as an organization, we will get consistent excellence back from our fans and our sponsors and the people of San Diego, and it will continue to roll forward in a really positive way.
100% agree with you, Peter Seidler, joining us here today on Extra 1360. Do you have a definition of what success is in 2021? You often remind us this is a roller coaster. There are going to be a lot of good days. There are going to be a lot of days where things aren't going to go right. But do you have in your mind how you define success for the upcoming season?
Yeah, I think we define success as winning the World Series championship, period. And perhaps, like we look back on last year, we can think of a lot of really positive things. And one thing I know is we enjoyed every game up until the very end. But we didn't have success the way we define it last year. And I think that's the standard as we head into this season. You know, the great thing about baseball is when you lose a game, you get to go out there in 24 hours and do it again. But we expect to do a heck of a lot more winning than anything else this year.
And finally, Peter, you know how the season ended, and you know to whom the season ended, and you've been involved on either side of this. You are through and through now a San Diegan and the chairman of the Padres and somebody who has proven how much he loves the city and how much he loves this organization. But what are you anticipating just in terms of, I think last time also you started referring to them not by name, but by that team up north. How about just getting set for a season now with that team up north and all of the hype here that's already been built in about not just the season, but the 19 games against the team from Los Angeles?
Well, to win the championship, we've got to end up ahead of 29 other clubs. And that, you know, we really focus on what we can control, which is what happens in this building and in this city. But I believe more so than in any year in Padres history, the dominant color in this building during those 19 games against the team up north will be brown.
And that, I think, is very welcome news for everybody listening. Are you not going to use them? You're not going to refer to them by name any longer? You won't do it. We can't get you to say the D word.
I'll refer to the San Diego Padres by name. That's where my head and my heart is.
Peter, that's why we love you so much. Thank you for doing this. Enjoy opening day. Thank you for again being with us here on yet another opening day. We thank you and can't thank the Padres enough. Super excited about this season, Peter, and we'll talk again soon.
Thanks so much, Darren.
Thank you. All right. Peter Seidler, everybody, who is the chairman of the San Diego Padres, who takes time out. Again, it was different circumstances. We had different roles. We had different times. We had block parties. We had people out and about and gallivanting, people who would gravitate towards Petco Park because it was opening day, because they just wanted to be close to it. And the games would start and there would still be thousands of people out there in the streets. I don't know precisely what it looks like. I haven't made my way down there since, you know, the show overlaps obviously with the game itself, which starts in a little bit less than an hour's time. We're somewhere thereabout. I'm sure that there will be some sort of ceremonial stuff happening before the game begins tonight or today, this afternoon. But man, if you are listening here out of market or for whatever reason, you just haven't poked your head outside, it is warm. It is sunny. It is 84, 85, somewhere in that range. The ballpark will have fans in it, which is super important given what we've all been through, even if we're just taking marginal steps towards a complete return to normalcy. Having 10,000 people up in there today, I'm guessing we'll have the sound of much more than what it actually is. Everybody and everyone I know who's been asking about tickets and where you can find them and what's the deal and do you know anybody and how hard is it going to be? And the answer is it's going to be hard. You know, it's going to be hard, but it's going to be Padres and it's going to be Diamondbacks coming up just past 1 o'clock today. It's going to be Yu Darvish, who Peter Seidler just referenced there, taking on Madison Bumgarner. The last time the Padres saw Madison Bumgarner, how many of you remember that game? That was only a 2-inning appearance for Madison Bumgarner, and the Padres got him for 4 home runs. Manny got him twice, Tatis got him, and Will Myers got him. Will Myers, who once upon a time, in our opinion, got sort of punked out there on the field by Madison Bumgarner when Mad Bum was with the Giants. Some of that perhaps injury impacted, who knows? Bumgarner did not have a season to remember, his first season with the Diamondbacks. Only 1-4 from last year and an ERA of about 6.5. So something physically, who knows? 9 starts and 9 starts alone. On the mound for the Padres, it's Yu Darvish. Finished second in the National League Cy Young Award balloting last year. Obviously, the team up north, as Peter Seidler now refers to them.
He also said who, I believe, when you asked him, he goes, who?
Yeah, I mean, and there are roots there. Like, there are roots there. Like, you know, we talk about this. It doesn't get mentioned enough, in my opinion. This rivalry, you know, for whatever and however we want to split hairs on what to call it, but for the here and for the now, Padres and Dodgers being the it series in the sport, Peter's been on either side of that. You know, that has somewhat been in his blood. It's like that factors in. That's a part of the rivalry, like that's like straight out of The Crown that we've got Peter Seidler, who once upon a time was born into the Dodger family and now can't even refer to them by name on radio and won't even refer to them by name on radio. So he has made it very clear over the years, whether it's been statements which have unproven, that his opinion was, we'll be in there before they will. Well, hey, didn't happen. But, that very much feels a huge part of this as well, that Peter Seidler has been excommunicated by his own choosing so that he could be here in San Diego, taking away from what it was that he was a part of since pretty much out of the womb. So appreciate that. Like I said, I would love to be down there on J Street. I would love to be complaining about the band that plays right across from our broadcast set. Would love to be eating some of downtown San Diego's finest food, whether that's our friends from Bub's or any of the food trucks that normally come with a day like today. And those walking up to us, not knowing we're on radio, which is always 1,000%. Hey, what are you guys giving away over here? Ma'am, we're on the radio right now. But meeting so many of you and being around so many of you and hanging out, getting a chance to say hello, people introducing themselves by their Twitter handles, etc. So, hey, I can wait another year for that. Or maybe later on in the summer, we can wait for that. But taking these steps, getting back towards where we are here this afternoon, a warm opening day, 2021, Padres and Diamondbacks, a little bit more under, somewhere in the neighborhood of an hour away. I think we're all pretty much on the same page today. Today's a really, really good day. So welcome to April, everybody. Welcome to the 2021 baseball season. We'll take our first time out for the afternoon back after this, Sonic.
Steve Harbin here, coming up on the Extra Morning Show. The opening day for the Padres is in the books, and that means the debut of the E Factor. What was the key to yesterday's game? You'll hear about it starting at 6 on Extra 1360.
All right, love that guy. Love that Peter Seidler fella. Stopping by here on opening day. Just about an hour away from first pitch here. Obviously, he's pulled in a million different directions, so appreciate the fact that he chose to spend a little bit of time with us, because certainly everybody would have understood, hey, whoa. Hey, come on. It's opening day, man. I'm the chairman. I mean, what are you talking about? It's one thing when I was lead investor, I had all sorts of free time on my hands, but I'm the chairman. I've got other things to do. You want to get in touch with me? How about a Zoom call? But Peter Seidler chose to make himself available, and we very much appreciate that. So we're approaching opening day as we scroll around here in the studio looking at different screens. I can see Mike Pomerantz and Mark Sweeney on a warm afternoon in downtown San Diego inside of Petco Park. We've got the Brewers on television on MLB Network. We've got one game already canceled, postponed because of COVID. We can't get the Mets and the Nationals off the ground, at least not yet. Today's game postponed. It wouldn't be opening day, I suppose, if we didn't have one COVID-impacted game. Thankfully, it is not the game in downtown San Diego, where we will have the return of fans in the stands, which I think is a huge part of the story. Maybe the biggest part of the story is that we will have fans in the seats at Petco Park. I can't wait to see what that looks like as you start getting some wide-angle shots of Petco on Bally's Sports Net. Is that what it's called? Jim Russell, good afternoon to you.
This is Jim.
I don't know how to pronounce it. Bali? Bali?
Well, Bali is the country, B-A-L-I. Now, I'm not saying that you're wrong. Bally, B-A-L-L-Y-S, like Bally's Fitness or Bally's Casino is what I'm working with here. But it's a script B in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. If you're watching it,
it's different, man. It's different.
It's a bit different. We were watching some of the pre-show, not the local San Diego pre-show, but the Bally Sports pre-show. I don't know what we were doing there. I got to admit, I'm not quite sure what that was all about. I don't know what plans many of you have or haven't made with regards to how you're going to consume Padre baseball this year. If you are like some of us, that you are a streamer, you're on YouTube TV, you're on Hulu, you're on Fubo, you're on Sling. I hope that you have made plans, because as you will hear coming up in about 10 minutes or so, the CEO of the Padres went on Kogo last night, News Radio 600 Kogo, and in no uncertain terms said, we're not going to be available on any of those platforms. So we'll hear that coming up here in a little bit. But as mentioned, AJ Preller was up early, got dressed. Don't know that this did or didn't make the cut. It was about 20 minutes long from AJ Preller, but he did say having to find a pair of slacks and a button-down shirt and a blazer. Not that I went to those lengths, but I made mention yesterday. It was tough. I spent more time just figuring out what to wear yesterday than it took me to get here to the studios since we've been here all week long. And Preller expressed some similar situation here that he's like, yeah, like I'm used to wearing shorts, like basketball shorts and a Mickey Mouse t-shirt or whatever that unique brand is to AJ Preller. So he had to find his good clothes, got a haircut, got a shave in today. The guy looked sharp, had a Zoom press conference at 10 o'clock this morning. Not going to play it all for you here, but the important parts from AJ Preller here. So a little Q&A from some of our local media and some of our regional media, some national media as well. Here's AJ Preller, Padres general manager. And what's the other title Preller has?
President of Baseball Ops.
President of Baseball Operations. Yeah, here's the one question somebody's got to ask AJ Preller. How much longer are you going to be the GM of this team? Anyway, here's Preller from today.
Yeah, I think all opening days are probably at the top. Honestly, I think it's hard to really look at one over another. I think every year it's so much fun. Baseball's back, spring, summer coming. The excitement for the season. I think this year definitely special with fans coming back into the ballpark and looking forward to the rest of the year in the summer and continue to get more fans back. But every year opening day is one of the best days of the year, honestly.
All right. I know every year you talk about being competitive, but when you add the likes of Blake Snell and Yu Darvish, what for you would make this a successful season?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about, obviously, we got to the playoffs last year and getting better, and the goal for us is to win a World Series, so I think from our standpoint, everybody in the building, I think the first and foremost goal is get back to October. That's a big challenge. Obviously a lot of great teams in the National League and, a lot of things over 162 games. Let's get back to October and then, build on last year and take it a few steps further with the ultimate goal for the organization, winning a World Series. That's what we're here for. That's what, fans and everybody that follows the Padres want to see. So, I think that's, I think for us, that's where our head's at going into the season.
And at this point, how do you think that you guys match up with the Dodgers? I know you'll be asked that this entire season, your players as well, but how do you guys think you match up?
They're a phenomenal team, so I think from our standpoint, we really, it's not quite as much like the individual matchup with one team. It's really like looking at our overall club, what we've looked at and just tried to evaluate where we were at last year. And if we're going to win a World Series, understanding that we're going to have to go through a lot of good teams to do it. We want to have a complete, well-rounded club with a lot of depth, and that's what we've tried to really look at putting together here over the last couple of weeks and over the last couple of months in the off season. And yeah, we definitely try to learn from last year's experience of areas that we fell a little short, and try to address it in the off season and in spring training. And it'll be things that we try to look at throughout the year. So they're obviously they're the world champions, so they're the team that is at the top of the mountain right now. And there's a lot of other good teams in the National League, and we're focused on trying to figure out ways to get our organization, our team, to that level.
AJ, I wonder if you could compare the excitement and anticipation and hype compared to the winter that was known as the Rockstar GM winter.
I don't know what you're talking about, Bill. I've kind of blacked out that 2015 season. So, it's different. I mean, I think I think there was an excitement just because it was something totally new and different. That in terms of I think some of the fans of San Diego, at least in the recent history, had not seen ownership that was willing to spend money, invest in the club, and I think they were used to some stars leaving San Diego and not necessarily being brought into San Diego. But I think this year, I think it's really just more so a continuation of the last 2 or 3 seasons where they see like a foundation having been built. They see a team that, I think we were one of the younger teams in the league. And, I think the moves this year are more a continuation of, something that they feel like legitimately we have a chance to, to play into October and do something special here and in the city. I think there was more curiosity and, an excitement level because it was fresh and new in 2015. And I think this year, I think probably heightened expectations, because I think there's an expectation that seeing the way that we played baseball last year and the roster, that we've got a chance to get back to October and do something that we're all looking to do. I think like just seeing Darren Smith on one of these Zoom calls, and I know it's got to be an exciting day, opening day. Usually he doesn't make it to these calls, so that's something that's got me wired up today and fired up. But no, I think I think all of us. I think it speaks to the work from the organization. The last 5 years. I think we've kind of talked about that 2020 season, and really this the next 5+ years is something that. If we do it the right way, we have a chance to put together a really competitive and fun product at the major league level. And I think when you look out and I think see the roster and see some of the players, I think probably my things are just going to be looking back on a ton of the conversations that that our staff had, and the work done by our scouting group, our player development group, our major league staff, R&D group. To really push me and push the group to acquire these players, and that's like a lot of the fun part, and I think the excitement for us here, as we start on the 2021 season.
All right, coming up next, the roster has been finalized, made official this morning. No big surprises, but we'll go over it with you. The lineup, the very first lineup for the 2021 regular season is out. We'll go over that with you as well. Plus, a couple of thoughts here from Padres CEO Eric Grupner, who was on News Radio 600 Kogo last night. All that coming up next.
Cannon's coming up today at 3, Padres opening day. Let's react. Also, let's put a number on it. How many games do the Padres need to win for it to be a good season? That starts at 3 on Extra 1360 and 103.3 FM.
Extra 1360 wants to make your stimulus check even better by doubling it. Got your chance to win another $1,400 check. Just listen to Extra all day long. You can hear the nationwide keyword to text, and you can win instantly right here on iHeartRadio. Speaking of text, we are going to take text throughout the day. This is a good day to try to sneak some good texts in there, since all eyes will be on baseball starting in about 30 minutes or so. So 70470, first word of the text, XTRA. And we're going to watch the game just like a lot of you. We're just going to be here in studio. We can watch them on television.
Should have brought beer. Oh. Did I spoil something?
What does this look like to you? Does this look like coffee?
Coffee.
Yeah, it's opening day. I mean, it's opening day. We get into the doldrums of baseball here before too long, but this is the day where everybody feels like, and I was going over a lot of these over-unders last night. I mentioned I'm in a very, very friendly pool, not for any actual money, of course, but I ended up riding with 4 different over-unders in the pool. So I'll share those with you perhaps a little later on so you can root along with me. None of them are from the NL West. I just couldn't pull the trigger on a Padres or a Dodgers over-under. I just felt like it was on those numbers. But I poured over some of this. I'll probably not win anything, but I took 4 entries in the pool. So Eric Grupner, Padres CEO, joined us last night. We'll get to this real quick here, and then top of the hour, obviously, we'll start watching what's going on at Petco Park. We're going to get into some other stuff. Andrew Brandt from the Monday Morning Quarterback is going to join us. So, this is what we call in the business a little bit of counter-programming that we will today, between 1 and 3 specifically, we will spend some time talking about stuff that isn't baseball-related. Since if you're that into baseball, chances are you're probably not going to rely on us, frankly, and we understand. But before we do, Jim, quick promotion for the wrap-up show. Since this is day number 1, when can people find and when can people hear the wrap-up show?
Today's wrap-up show will be at 5 to 6 tonight. 5 to 6 after Loose Cannons. We're cutting a little bit in there. So after the game. Listen to me and John later today, 5 o'clock.
Preempting the Loose Cannons. Now, how does John Schaefer of the Loose Cannons feel about being preempted for the wrap-up show?
He's fine with it. He's okay.
I
think he's okay.
And I'm sure Rich is okay with it as well, because he gets back home at 4:15.
Yeah.
Plenty of time to stop by an Arby's or whatever other fast food joint he wants to go and hit, where he can just consume 2 pounds of meat. 5:15, right? Yeah. Even better. So plenty of more daylight, plenty of more sunshine. But we'll have your text messages all throughout the day. You want to dare us to read something on the air? Today's the day to do it, because the bosses aren't even listening to this. 70470, first word of the text, XTRA. Eric Grupner went on News Radio 600 Kogo last night, and this was as of last night, and nothing has changed, and you can hear it in the tone. Eric Grupner was asked specifically, those of us who stream via YouTube, Sling, Fubo, What am I missing? I'm missing some of them. Hulu, what's the deal? How are we going to watch this product this year?
Yeah, so we have received an update from Sinclair, and I think it's a good update for those that are willing to make a change. There is a streaming service available. It's AT&T TV. It's an app. It's something you can download and sign up for within 10 minutes. Our head of PR comms told me the other day he made the change from YouTube TV to AT&T TV, and it's available on all, your smart devices, also on Apple TV, Roku, Android devices, Fire Stick. And so if you go to www.att.com, our head of PR told me it took him 10 minutes from start to finish to make the change from YouTube to AT&T. And AT&T has an online sign-up with no annual contract, and you can cancel at any time.
All right. Eric Grupner told us in a previous interview that he's a YouTube TV subscriber, so he's referring and learning about the experience of their head of comms. So I don't know if that means that the Grupner household might not have Padre games. But he went on to, and I went on to press and say, hey, listen, you guys are 20% owners of Bally's Sports Network here. Don't you have any influence? He said, we're a minority owner. They call the shots. So he felt like they had no other advice for any Padre fan other than if you want to continue streaming, go and find AT&T. I don't know how many of you want to do that. I'm not here to endorse that product. I'm not here to tell you not to go there. It's just, that's the very latest that we can give you here. Now, we also started talking, I thought it was very interesting today, the San Francisco Giants, it was reported, are going to have 22% capacity at AT&T Park. Is that the name of that? SBC Park. It's Alphabet Park. And 100% of the fans are going to be vaccinated. That, according, I think, to the San Francisco Health Department, if I had it right. But it's reported they're just going to jump straight into vaccinations only. If you're going to go to see a Giants game in San Francisco, you have to be vaccinated or you have to test negative within the previous 72 hours of the game. Eric Grupner talked a little bit about vaccination sections at Petco Park. Here's what he said last night.
Yeah, we don't. That's part of the guidance we need, whether it's an all or nothing concept where the venue would need to only admit those that have proof of vaccination or have been tested, or whether we can create sections that are really segregated in a way where you don't have the mixing of fans between the vaccination and testing section and the other sections of the ballpark. So we're seeking clarity on that. Our hope will be that we can create sections within the ballpark so we can accommodate all fans, whether they've been vaccinated yet or not, understanding that, vaccinations won't open up to 16 and older until the middle of April. So more to come on that. I do think it's good policy to have sections that allow a greater capacity and perhaps additional amenities for those that have been vaccinated, because it's an incentive for folks to get vaccinated.
Yeah, I mean, that is most definitely part of it. Now, just to give you the quick refresher on that, currently the Padres are allowed to have 20% capacity because we are in the red tier. If we get to the orange tier, which is expected sometime in the next week, 33% capacity at Petco Park, which opens up a bunch more seats. But if you get approval to go ahead and have, with reduced social distancing, into the orange tier and vaccination sections, you can have up to 66, 67% capacity in those sections, not in the ballpark, not in the 42.5, but in those sections, you can have 66, 67% capacity. So whether that does or doesn't serve as any form of incentive for you, I don't know that that is the point. Eric Grupner put that out there, but that would be incentive for me if I were searching for some motivation to go ahead and get vaccinated. And finally, Eric Grupner on tickets, eligibility in the future for fans to go to games.
Yeah, so we do have access currently for all of our full and half season plan members. There are some limitations on opening day because we do provide our tenured or longest tenured half season plans, both halves of a seat package to access opening day. So after opening day, some of our newer full and half season members will begin to get access. And then with our partial season members, we've put them into a pre-sale that didn't go well, but has now been rectified and improved, and we're giving them access to games early in the season, and we're going homestand by homestand right now because obviously capacity may increase, and when it does, we're going to continue to give priority access to season ticket members, including those that have placed deposits but have not yet been given a seating location because of the reduced capacity.
Yeah, Eric Grupner also said, hey, listen, this is not going perfectly at all, and we own that, and we will do what we can here to make it better for as many people as possible. So
it's their first pandemic, Darren.
It's their first pandemic. It's the first time they've had fans in those seats in 550-something days. It's been a really, really long time. It's great to see it on television. The game is getting set to begin in downtown San Diego. It is the pregame introductions happening on the field at Petco Park. We will be back with hour number 2 coming up next on the next